Hello and welcome to episode 35 of the Craving Crypto podcast. Today's episode is a live stream, so it's going to be really fun. We're going to be talking about whether Ripple is going to moonshot or not, how to play that. We're going to be going over all of the markets, doing any altcoin requests that you guys have, any questions that you guys have. And then afterwards, if you stay clear to the end, we're going to be running a sell. So go ahead and watch for that. It's a little bonus. But yeah, it's going to be a really awesome Friday here. I'm really excited to go over these markets because we've had quite a bit of exciting movement. Let's just go ahead and share these links into the Discord and other areas so that we can get everybody tuning in today. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and grab that link on my computer and send it over to the Discord. Let's see. Come on. Gotta use my laptop here for the link, unless might just be on my YouTube homepage as well. Okay, so is the stream health working fine? Everybody can hear everything clear? Welcome. Good to see some people tuning in. Happy Friday. For anybody that missed it, we are going to be going over Ripple, talking about how to play it, whether it's going to moonshot or not, and then doing the technical analysis on the rest of the markets and any requests that you guys have, and then a little bonus at the end, so make sure that you stay for all of it. Cool, we got about 12 people so far. Let me just grab this link. It should be on my YouTube page somewhere. So let's just see here. There we are. There's my link. I'll just take this. I don't want to be watching it as I stream, otherwise I'm going to have some bandwidth issues. Okay, there we go. Shared it into the Discord. Now we can start to get some of the VIP members tuning in as well. So that will be great. Yeah, there's a ton of pumping in the markets today, so that's super exciting, Andrea. Like everything is starting to pop off. We can look at Bitcoin right here. It's up to 6.7. My VIP knows that I called this, and we entered on a little short-term swing trade for Bitcoin. So that's exciting to see it heading towards those targets. It actually got within like $5 of my stop loss, or pretty close to it, before it went ahead and moonshotted when we did this little wick right here, this panic wick, and made a tiny, basically a double bottom, but on some exchanges like BitMEX, you made a new low right there. But the markets are really starting to pick up right here. And as you can see, if we go to like Ripple against the dollar on Bitfinex, you can see that we've just had this huge breakout of the descending resistance levels that Ripple was experiencing all through the year. So to see this type of a breakout in descending resistance is a really good sign for Ripple overall. Let me just go ahead and take off auto scale so I can drag and slide this all around here for the stream. Okay, there we go. So yeah, here's Ripple. As you can see, we've had this huge falling wedge pattern right here. You can just draw the resistance points and connect them. Actually, I'll probably move this line down just a little bit right here, angle it out just a little bit like that, because that meets with more resistance points cleanly. Somewhere around there is a good spot to draw it. You don't have to be perfect, but it's good to make sure those lines are as accurate as possible. And then that's the descending support. So falling wedge, I've taught this many times, but basically just means that the top is descending and the bottom is descending, and sellers are getting squeezed. So the more sellers that get squeezed into a smaller and lower volatility consolidation range, once you get a clear breakout of the resistance, you start to impulse. So that's what we're seeing here with Ripple, is that impulse to occur. One of my VIP members on Tuesday actually asked me what I thought of Ripple, and I did the same exact analysis and said that if it broke above the 30-cent range, that we could easily see it test $1. And then in the next 2 days, we basically already have reached $1. I mean, 78 cents isn't $1, but we're starting to get in that general direction. There's also this giant volume spike equal to the volume spike that we saw as we started to rally at the beginning of, or towards the end of last year and the beginning of this year. So to see a volume spike coming in that's equal to that volume spike is another really good sign for Ripple. If we go into the smaller time frames, you can see that we're starting to reject off that major resistance We had some resistance over here in the past, so we are seeing some selling pressure off of that level. I would consider this to be a 1 and a 2 wave, and this to be a 3. So we're looking for that 3 to retrace back somewhere into the support of the 1 wave. I would like to see it come test in this range. That would be really awesome for entries if it comes right back to that support level. I'm not thoroughly convinced it will, but that's where I'm going to be looking to buy. If it doesn't hit those levels, I'll wait for a bigger correction, because it will do a bigger correction before it makes a new all-time high. There's a lot of resistance up here, so there'll always be a time to get into the market. You don't have to FOMO. You don't have to... it's okay to miss out on 1 or 2 cycles if you understand the bigger cycles. So anyways, yeah, this is pretty awesome looking. So if we can get that retrace for a healthy entry, that would be cool. Over here in the previous breakout that we had with Ripple, as you can see, it rallied all the way up and then it retraced back to the support of the previous wave. It didn't quite touch the previous wave all the way, which was right here at 28 cents, but it went pretty close at 42. So that's kind of the retrace that I want to see happen in Ripple, is some type of a rejection and a panic wick before moving higher. That would really be awesome. And it does look like we're starting to get that right now. So again, it's just going to be waiting for this to start to curl. When you have an impulse like this and it's just really jaggedy up like that, let me just make this line a little bigger. When it's just a huge impulse like that and then it comes right back down, you want to wait for the market to make some structure. It's either going to consolidate like this and then break out from a little triangle pattern, or it's going to consolidate like this and then retest the 6 and 8 support level, and then you can buy right there. So you want to wait for more market structure before you try to trade this or make any trading decisions, and you especially don't want to FOMO in. So wait for some type of consolidation range. Those are what give you the patterns, so you can trade the triangle or whatever starts to form and then base your trading decisions on that. But until that actually occurs, you really don't want to be jumping the gun on anything or FOMOing in. It's just bad practice overall. So let's check the live dashboard, see how many people are tuning in. 45, awesome. Happy Friday, everybody. The markets are really, really exciting. So that's why I decided to do a stream instead of a normal video. I recorded my intro and outro shot and I was like, what the hell am I doing? The markets are so exciting right now. I really should just be talking live, answering as many questions as I can and doing my analysis that way for you guys. So, but yeah, hey Scott, good to see you tuning in today. What's up, Malong? Long-time viewer, good to see you tuning in today. We're 8 minutes in and already killing it. So let's check out the total market capitalization for today. If you guys don't know where to chart this, you can head over to coinsignals.trade. It connects the TradingView engine to the total market cap on coinmarketcap.com. So you can do all of your charting on any of the coins that don't have the dollar charts on TradingView or don't have the pair that you're looking for. You can always pull it up on this website because CoinMarketCap has all the data from all the exchanges. They do a really good job of keeping track of that and managing it. So to have a platform like this which connects the API with the engine that TradingView has built is a really awesome tool for us traders. I'm glad that this was made. I've been sharing it with as many people as possible. But anyways, let's get into the analysis here. We've got some support and resistance drawn. This was our falling wedge in the past that we rallied up from. This was our rising wedge that we rejected off of. This was our support level that we've been watching. I don't know if you've been paying attention to the last few episodes in the podcast, but we talked about how this was a major support right here near 190 billion. It wicked a little bit lower to 189 range and then bounced up, but that still perfectly counts as a bounce off that support level. And then I mentioned how my primary option in yesterday's episode would be that we get above this resistance level and start to head towards the next resistance levels. We've already started to do that, which is really not really surprising, but more exciting to see that type of an impulse on the upside, because this could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave. So if support starts to hold really well between the 210 and the $214 billion range, that's going to be a strong sign for Bitcoin and for the rest of the total market cap in general. Now, if that support failure happens, then we could always test these lower levels at 170 or 180 billion in total market capitalization. So again, this is all of the coins added up together, all of their total market caps into one. So this is really nice when you're charting especially looking for support and resistance, because if you want to take a altcoin position, but you're seeing weakness in the entire market, it's probably not good to be doing that. But if you want to take an altcoin position and then you're landing onto a major support in the total market cap, you've got a lot better odds that that position is going to be in your favor. So utilizing this along with your analysis is a really great tool to kind of increase your accuracy. It's helped me a lot over the past few weeks, and really since I found this website, because before, when I tried to chart on the total market cap, I opened my Photoshop software and took a screenshot of their terrible little blue lined chart and then tried to draw lines on it. So that's pretty useless. It's a lot more useful. I think that we will be able to, my primary is still that we'll reject a little bit off this 230 billion range. It was a pretty big resistance level right here in that rising wedge. I would expect to see some type of a reaction at that level, and then support to be finding between, this was a resistance level. So let's just take this and we're gonna make it green now because it's an official support level. So as the prices get above those support levels or those resistance levels, they become support. And whenever you're doing your analysis, I like to have mine red and then my support green, so that when I get above a resistance level, I can switch the color of it and understand that, okay, I'm watching this as a support level now because we've breached it and successfully went above it. So cheers. Good to see everybody tuning in. Sandpiper, Joel, Richard, Andrew, Tanium. I really appreciate everybody coming in today. Andrea, it's going to be a great stream. So make sure you guys stay till the end. I got a little bonus for you. So we're excited about that as well. On crypto, watch. So this is crypto, WAT.ch. This is just a platform that I like to check sometimes if I want to see the percentages across the board for the total or for the top coins. And as you can see, you can just kind of look here, it auto updates, and it will just give you the price of each coin. Ripple being up 84 flipping percent. So shout out to all the Ripple holders and anybody in that position. We're glad that you're making money right now as the market's rallying and things are starting to pick up. I like to see people in profit, so it's really exciting to get these breakouts. Yeah, so let's do some analysis on the actual Bitcoin markets. I want to talk about the cycles because I was running over this with one of the VIP members today and found, well, when I redid my chart and looked at it, I was like, oh, wow, this matches up really good. I've used sine waves to calculate cycles before, but when I looked at this chart today, I had a little bit of some more perspective that was given to me. So this is BLX, the Brave New Liquid Coin Index, or Brave New Coin Liquid Index. So this is just all of the price data from Mt. Gox, from Bitstamp, from Bitfinex, all added into an index so that you can see Bitcoin clear back from 2011 and see from when it went from a penny all the way up to $29 and then back down to $2. So you can see all of these cycles really clearly. And what I've done here is I've drawn a sine wave connecting these major lows and kind of mapped out the cyclical nature of Bitcoin. Its pumps and its dumps. And as you can see, it's not going to be perfect every time, but these lines, these vertical lines that I have drawn are meeting up with the lows or areas where the price is seeing some slowdown and not rallying as quickly. And as you can see, these cycles match up really perfectly. They start to reject, come back down, you come back up right here, you reject, you come back up right here, you reject. There's some slowdown right here as it hits major resistance. It picks up a whole bunch with this cycle, and then it rejects at the beginning of the year with that cycle there. So this green line in the background is just to kind of show the way that it cycles up and down. And then the sine wave right here in the background. Let me just make this maybe a bigger, more easier to see color for our viewers to make sure you guys can really see that sine wave. So those blue lines on the bottom are going to be the cycles for Bitcoin. And then you can take this and you can actually line it up with any altcoin chart that you're looking at to make sure that your cycles are correct. So what I did is I lined it up with Litecoin. And as you can see, Litecoin is on the bottom here. And the cycles are meeting up near perfectly. And I'm just going to zoom in here on the Litecoin chart as best I can so you guys can see. Double click so my indicators are gone, and then try to line up my sine waves again here. Let me just see. It takes a second to line them up because the zoom is really sensitive. So to get the perfect cycles takes just a second here. And there we go. That looks pretty close here. So you can see that Litecoin had an expanding wedge, and then it rallied out of that expanding wedge, went all the way to 360, retraced like 80% of its market value back to $49, and it's playing that same cycle out, and it's lining up very nicely. So that's how you can take the bullish and bearish cycles, connect all of those lows together, make sure that your sine wave is lining up, and then apply it to your altcoins to see if your cycles match up. And this would work perfectly. I mean, we have a huge falling wedge pattern, A, B, C, D, E subwave count right here, which is confirming that falling wedge pattern. And we're already starting to bounce off that support level here in Litecoin and make some higher highs on the smaller time frame. So if we can make higher highs on the daily or even the weekly, we're going to see some upside movement for Litecoin as well. Now let's just switch back right here. So I do suspect this to start to curl on the upside, Bitcoin in general. I wouldn't be surprised if we have one more shakeout. That's very possible for the crypto markets, but either way, I play big picture cycles. So if next week we go a little bit lower and drop another few percent, I'm not gonna mind. I'm accumulating this panic here. That's the best way to play these cycles, because anybody that's trying to call the exact bottom isn't a good practice. I've mentioned multiple times that I see 6,000 as a strong support level and that it wouldn't surprise me if that was the bottom. But again, you don't want to say that with 100% certainty, right? You want to accumulate in and be open-minded if it does a little bit of a different low. So looking at Bitcoin, there's really only two main wave counts, and that would be a WXY correction or a WXYZ correction. I'm just going to go ahead and remove all of these drawing tools here. But basically, it just means that we could either test one more low in this major support range, or we could break out right now. So that's like our two main options is we come down here, we find some more support and then break out, or we find support at current price and break out of that triangle pattern that we've been making really since June, when we started to bottom out right here and rally back up to the $8,300 levels. So overall, things are looking really good. The strength is definitely in the bulls right now. If we really get above these resistance levels that we've been making in this triangle pattern, that will be a strong buy signal on the short term. And then if we get above this level at 98, that will be even a bigger buy signal on the bigger picture. So either way, like I said, I'm always treating this as an accumulation cycle. We play the big moves. So we're waiting for those sine waves that we just drew earlier, and we're waiting for that rounding structure, which we are starting to get in the crypto markets. As you can see, if we just take this curve tool, there's obviously a rounded attitude, maybe a good word for it, to this move. Rounded structure. And as you can see, the resistance levels are rounding as well. So that's a good sign as well. Rounded bottoms mean that we're getting accumulated, the volatility is dropping, and there's less and less sellers. Anybody have any questions on that? Altcoins rally. So here in a few minutes, we'll have you start dropping your altcoin requests. Usually we get into that about 20 or 30 minutes into the stream, and then we run over those things. And if you stay to the end, I got a little bonus for you. So make sure that you do that. Yeah, there is a potential for cup and handle on the weekly chart. I do agree with this. If we go into the weekly and we zoom out right here, and then we just kind of pull down on the chart to give us some more perspective, and then we come over here on the left-hand side, you can see that this arc tool is a geometry tool that we can take, and we just want to go about. So the left half of the cup you want to about double it because it's a rounded shape. So if you double the size of that cup pattern, you're going to get the most accurate I cannot pronounce that word. Trajectory? I slaughtered it. I'm sorry. But either way, that's going to be your best direction that we expect this to curl. So that would, if we get back up to these resistance levels and then make another rounded shape like this, the cup and handle pattern, this would be a really, really big buy signal, because this would mean that this is a continuation of the bigger degree uptrend, right? Because this is an uptrend. If we click on the log chart, it's been uptrending since a penny. Bitcoin just uptrends. It does cycles. There's areas where it does short-term downtrends, but there's a big picture uptrend going on. So if that becomes a big picture accumulation pattern and it meets the requirement of testing the .618 Fibonacci support, because cup and handles need to test the 618, then that would be a potential buy signal. But you really don't want to jump the gun on that just because we haven't gotten the right side of the cup, but it is a potential. So thank you for pointing that out, and that's kind of my thoughts on the cup and handle that everybody's been drawing. So, all right, looks like we already have people dropping some altcoin requests. It's Digibyte being our first one. So DGB. Let me just remove all these drawing tools. So Digibyte is in a horizontal consolidation range. We can just draw a resistance line right here and a support line right here. It's been bouncing in this range since it corrected at the beginning of the year and really hasn't seen much downside since this first impulse downward. So that's a good sign for the bulls on Digibyte for it not to be making newer lows when a lot of the altcoins went in for another low in this area. And then if we go in from not the weekly candlesticks, but let's drop into the 3-day, which you can add by scrolling down on your trading view, typing in 3, and then clicking on day, and then pressing add. So let's switch over to 3-day. I like the 3-day and the 4-day candlesticks because they make really good candlestick patterns, like buy signals. Buy signals or sell signals on cryptos, because the time frames are a little bit weird, so you have to add extras because crypto moves so much quicker than the stock market that you need kind of weird and oddball time frames to get some of the same candlestick patterns that you would use to give you buy or sell signals in crypto. So as you can see, on the 3-day candlesticks, we are starting to make a bullish pin hammer. So if this closes as a bullish pin hammer candle, which the definition of a bull pin hammer candle is like this. The candlestick opens down here and closes oops, actually, let me fix this. That's incorrect. The candlestick opens right here and closes right here. So the body is where it opens and closes. And then this is the lowest point in the candlestick. And then this is the highest point in the candlestick up here. High. So after these 3 days are over, which if we hover our mouse will be September 22nd, so tomorrow, which means it's pretty likely to close bullish unless we sell off really, really quickly over the next 24 hours. So if this closes as a bullish engulfing candlestick like that, let me just make that green right here so you can really see, then that's a buy signal for Digibyte as well. That's one of the candlestick patterns that we watch for, is a bull pin hammer. So 3-day candlesticks are a good way to see these patterns, and same with the 4-day. Especially with Bitcoin, the 4-day works amazingly. All right, so as far as Digibyte goes, I would like to see this resistance level at 32 cents broken above. That's kind of the medium of the consolidation range that we've been in right here. So if we get above the medium, then the resistance is likely to be tested at 5 cents. And if we get above 5 cents, that would be an amplitude move. So you measure the height of the consolidation range like this, and then you take that line and you're just going to drop it at the point that it breaks out of. Your first viable target's going to be about 8 cents right here. So that's taking you back up to these major resistance levels that we've been rejecting off of in the 2017 bull market range. So there's that big chunk of resistance right here, as you can see, and that would take us back up into those resistance levels, which, you know, would obviously mean that we'd likely see some type of a short-term rejection before going higher, but that would be a good sign for anybody that gets in on the position around 4 cents, because they're going to easily make another 100% profit before it rejects. All right, ethos. Let's go ahead and run over some ethos. Crypto ethos. What's the ticker symbol for this? Ethos. We may need to use the total market cap right here, our fancy little tool for charting coin market cap coins. There's so much hype in the space right now, which is really to be expected. I keep talking about how I suspect that we are in the depression phase of the market cycle. So if we really start to break out of these resistance levels in any of these coins, I suspect us to be confirmed as out of those resistance level, not resistance levels, out of the depression phase of the market cycle, and we can be expecting some disbelief, some people not believing that it's going to go up because they lost so much on everything going down. And then after the disbelief phase, you start to get an intense rally. So, all right, let's go ahead and pull this up into the daily candlesticks for now and look at this since the beginning of time. So this is a really, really intense retrace for this chart. Let me see if I can bring the volume back in. There we go. Nice. And then we can go ahead and draw a similar kind of wedge that we've been seeing in a lot of the other coins. There's our resistance of that wedge. Here's our support of that wedge. So this is the same kind of wedge that popped up on Ripple, you guys. So if it starts to break above that red resistance line, that confirms the breakout of this pattern. And then your first target is going to be the height from the resistance to the first support level, placed at the point that it breaks out. All right, my Elliott wave count for this is going to look something like this. We'll just take our one wave tool, a 1 and a 2. This is going to be a 3 and a 4. And there's our impulsive 5 waves, which happen all the time in cryptocurrency markets. And in overvalued tech stocks, we always see in tech stocks in the stock world, they do extended fifths. Same with cannabis stocks, by the way, which I've been talking more about recently. And then this is going to be a W, X, Y, X, Z correction. So that's all ABC subwaves. This is how I would count the corrective pattern that happened on ethos. So some of these cryptos are doing a little bit more complicated correction patterns. This is a lot of the stuff that I teach in my mastermind class, but for beginners, just understand that whenever you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up, you're expecting either an ABC or a WXY or a WXYZ correction. So you can still get out on the 5th wave and understand that a corrective process will take place, but that does not mean that you're going to know exactly which type of corrective process that will take place. So you accumulate on the downside when it starts to correct, so that if it's an ABC, you get in at a nice low. If it's a WXYZ, you still get in at nice lows. Either way, you win. So, but yeah, these volume spikes down here is a pretty good sign. They're in the millions against the dollar. So we're talking about $13 million days down here. We had a $34 million day. I believe the biggest spike was right here, and this would have been a selling volume spike at 53 million. And that was just a heavy resistance level. So people are taking profits, but this is going to be more of a buying volume down here. So if we get a huge spike and that resistance broken out at 30 cents, again, you can expect these higher resistance levels to start to get tested and potentially rejected off of. You just want to make resistance red. I like to keep things in color schemes so that I know kind of what I'm looking at. But yeah, so that's ethos for you. Let's see. let's go into EOS, because this is one of my favorite holdings and one that I expect to perform phenomenally all through the next bull run. So let's definitely pull the EOS up. Hopefully, okay, yeah, there we go. So EOS is also starting to meet these major resistance levels. If we get above the 660 level, we're very likely to impulse up even above $8 right here. This was 2 falling wedge patterns. It did a very, very similar fractal. So we can just take our resistance levels and our support. These ones are more steep. So they're really, really steep falling wedges. Okay. And then your wave count for these wedges are going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up. And then again, this goes into how sometimes the market is going to do multiple different types of corrective processes, but you're still getting out on the 5th wave, so you really don't care which one it does. But these were both A, B, C, D, E, which is a falling wedge triangle Elliott wave. So these are all ABC subwaves. So inside of the A wave, there's ABC. Inside of the B wave, there's ABC. Inside of the C wave, you get the picture. But yeah, again, that resistance level is what's going to be confirming that we will get that move. This bullish engulfing candlestick on the, which time frame was it? Maybe it was a 3-day. If we close on the 3-day, engulfing all of the bears, then, and again, this 3-day candlestick closes tomorrow, that's going to be a really good buy signal as well for EOS. And that's kind of how you count the waves and the cycles. This, actually, one of my buddies pointed this out to me, that this EOS looks exactly like Ethereum did when it had all of this FUD way back in the day, right here. This is the same kind of pattern that we saw, the same accumulation pattern where you break out right here, you make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you do a falling wedge pattern, and then you go in for another high. Everybody thinks it's going to moonshot. And I did have an alternative count of this doing, I actually took some positions on this trade around this area, and when we started to dip, but it was on EOS. But yeah, when we didn't get the 3 wave, you start to average out, and then it does this bigger corrective process down like that. So it kind of FOMOs and makes everybody think that it's breaking out and it's going to do another wave up, but it ends up just being a FOMO wick right there. So let's go back to EOS and kind of compare. So as you can see, that same kind of thing happened here. It breaks up and then it breaks out again. And so because if it breaks out, everybody thinks that this is the start of a 3 wave, including myself in this case. And then we decide to do a deeper corrective process. But again, the best way to play these is accumulation. So if it does a different wave count than what you're expecting, you're still get a nice average low. And then when the market rallies back up, you can get out of your position or keep riding it if you're going to play it long term. So, but yeah, those are the same kind of accumulation patterns. And ETC, what's interesting is ETC also had the exact same thing. In fact, I'm going to pull up my Twitter really quick just because I want to show the exact chart that was made by my friend. He did a really, really good job of comparing the 3 all on top of each other so you can just directly see it. But as you can see, ETC, it's that same thing that's happening. You start to break out right here. You rally, you come back down, and then you break out into major resistance. Everybody thinks it's going to do a 3 wave, which will go really, really high. And then it does a bigger falling wedge pattern, finds support, and then does a reversal is what is expected to happen in this area. So let's just zoom down right here through all my amazing tweets and go down to this right here. And this is going to be my buddy right here that made this chart. And he explained it. So here's the 40-cent Ethereum rallying up to $21 at its high and coming back down and accumulating. Here's our 50-cent EOS rallying up to $23 at its high and then getting accumulated as well. So that's the same accumulation fractal, the same emotional psychological behavior being applied in both charts, even though they're completely different coins. So this is why people ask me questions like, hey, if a coin has a certain supply, is it going to make different fractals or it won't play out a fractal? it doesn't matter. You know, the stock market has completely different fundamentals than crypto, but we're seeing basically all of the same fractals that have been around since the beginning of market cycles that we've had data to chart these things. So humans never change. It's the psychology that we trade, and the psychology never changes as well. So these fractals work on any coin, any stock. Obviously, it's not going to work every single time, but that's why you have your risk management in place in case you didn't draw your fractal right or you didn't pick a good one. So, but yeah, that's kind of how you play it. And by the way, Elliott waves is a fractal. So that's kind of one of the reasons that I like Elliott waves, is because it's like the Godfather fractal. You can apply it to pretty much any chart. You don't have to find the exact fractal. You can use the fractal of Elliott waves within it. So, but yeah, that's just an example of how those patterns look very, very similar here. So. Let's see. Yeah, you should definitely add your notifications so you get in my Twitter feed. I post on there. So, yeah, I post quite a bit of content on there. All right, looks like we are getting some requests for GVC or GVT. Just pull this one up. GVT. This is going to be Genesis Vision. So Genesis Vision is a very similar story to the way that Ethos looks. A lot of these newer coins that came out like either early or late last year or early this year have very similar consolidation patterns, I've noticed. So pay attention to that. Here's your wedge pattern. This one already actually broke out of its wedge pattern with volume. It is starting to reject on the short term right here. And it does look like it made a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave. So I would not be at all surprised if we retest these lower support levels before any type of a push higher. This one, we don't really have very much data in the past, but you can still count this. You would either count it as like this with the 1, 2, 3, 4, oops. 1, 2, and then a 3 that we just can't really see because it was inside of a candle, 3, 4, 5. Or maybe you count it like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a huge extended fifth. Or maybe we just don't have enough chart data in the past to see the actual one wave. But either way, we know that this was an extended fifth wave right here. So even if we can't see the previous waves, we know that was an extended fifth wave and that a corrective process needed to take place. So you can still use Elliott waves even if sometimes you don't get all of the data in the chart. But yeah, again, watch for these support levels to bounce. In these lower areas right here, it looks like it's doing a little bit of a rejection and is a little overbought. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if we see some type of a curl like that, right? A curl down for more accumulation and then some type of another breakout for more upside. Okay. Let's go get into some more requests. ETC, we basically just ran over ETC, kind of. It's doing the same accumulation pattern as EOS, so play it in the same way. You know, they look very, very similar as the Ethereum, the EOS, and then the ETC all match up. So if we scroll down right here, you can see how he showed the ETC being a very similar fractal and pattern as well. And then even Ethereum today is a similar fractal and pattern. So it just seems to be growing and expanding in that same fashion over and over again. All of these coins. And what's interesting because they're all kind of in the same class together. So the fact that they're painting similar fractals is really cool. WTC. Is this a Walton chain? Yes, it is. I can never keep track with all of these crypto names. There are so many of them to keep track of. Okie dokie. So this one looks like an ABC correction. You can see within the subwaves that that's a lot more of an ABC type of move than a WXY. And this would have been your 1, 2, 3, 4 extended fifth wave impulse. Again, these are common in cryptos. And then pot stocks and tech stocks. And then you've got your A, B, C corrective pattern that comes afterwards. So that's your basic, most standard correction that we're all really used to. Nothing complicated. You're not counting some crazy WXY. So if you're new to this, you can definitely count this one. But yeah, this one actually already started to, it already did a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up and an ABC down, and is starting to make a horizontal consolidation range. So if we go into the 2-hour time frames here and then kind of pull down onto this chart and look at what happened, you can see the same thing happening again with a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a fifth wave. In these smaller time frames, you're not going to get extended fifth waves. It's a lot less likely because all the bots are trading it as well, and they take profits immediately and with no emotion behind it because they're robots. So they take profits really quickly on a fifth wave and don't treat it as an extended fifth. And then you've got this right here, which was I was talking about, that horizontal consolidation range. So if this starts to break above this horizontal consolidation range, that would likely be the beginning of a 3-wave. So since Elliott waves is a fractal and it applies on all time frames, that means that we can zoom out right here and get something like this as an expected reaction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But that's only if we get above this little horizontal consolidation range and start making higher highs that we'll get a 3-wave for Walton Chain as well. But that's kind of how you look at it, how you play it. All of these coins are breaking out of these descending resistance levels and then falling back onto them as support. And that is very typical of a market that's starting to bottom out. Let's see. Theta, I think. Theta, I don't know. Okay. Theta. Theta, tho. All right, here. Let's zoom out. Wait, what is this? Okay. Well, there's really not much to make sense of here. You can trade this using support and resistance. I cannot see any type of a wave. There's obviously waves inside of this, like this was an ABC up. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down, because when you're in corrections, you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s down. But this doesn't really have a ton of clear trading patterns. So what you do is you do the same kind of little horizontal trading ranges or trading patterns that we were showing earlier. So you'd look for a triangle or a consolidation range or something that's going to give you a trading pattern. This one, I just would not personally try to trade this unless you're accumulating it for fundamental purposes. But there's just no real clear setup here. And when you're trading, you want to just make sure that you're seeing stuff that has a super clean and clear buy signal. You don't want to be taking a trade just because you feel like it. You know, you want to have a good setup. So yeah, I'd be watching these support and resistance levels. I'd expect it to continue in this range until it proves otherwise. Not one that I'd be picking to play. I used to trade on Poloniex, but I don't anymore. I had some issues with them. A little bit of a horror story, kind of. They wouldn't get back to me for like multiple months on end. It was like 7 months. Not everybody has that kind of experience with them, but I've heard quite a few different people that have. So I don't try to recommend it as much anymore. I usually, if I want to trade, I'm using Binance or Bittrex or some type of leveraged exchange for my margin. So hopefully that helps you with that questions. We already went over GVT Hero, so if you want to watch this stream later, you can go ahead and check out what my analysis on that would be. We'll go over one more right here, and then quickly look at the Bitcoin cycles one more time for anybody that missed it at the beginning of the stream, and then go over for the bonus. So make sure that you stay tuned in for that. LTC will be our, well, we did look at this a little bit, so I'll actually do 2 more just to be nice. But yeah. LTC dollar, this was our market cycle that we drawn. These sine waves are really, really awesome for determining curls and when you might start to see some type of a reversal. As you can see, I had a couple different options for how this might play out. It's already started to break out of this falling wedge pattern. There's our A, B, C, D, E waves down. And when it broke out of the resistance level, it fell back onto it, and it's finding that resistance and it's treating it as a support level now. So if this treats it as a support level and starts to curl and make higher highs, that's going to be really good for this cycle on Litecoin. And I will definitely be bullish on the short term if we do that. And honestly, I'm bullish on the long term for everything, so I don't really need to say that. Or all the big names that have good volume and are being accumulated. You know, obviously you don't want to be accumulating some shit coin unless it's just for a short-term trade setup. Yeah, Polo, I agree with that. Polo works until it doesn't, and then you hate yourself for using it. You fall in love with it for like years, like 2 years. I used Poloniex since 2015, some into 2016. And so I've been around on that for a while, and I loved it for so long, and then it just stopped giving me that that quality that I got used to. So, I could definitely agree with that. All right, we will go over EMC as our last pick here. EMC, Einsteinium. This is EMC squared. Well, this one, I believe, maybe this was one of the ones that got a delisting note for Poloniex, but don't quote me on that. I'd have to look into it to make sure. You can log on to poloniex.com to see if this is one of the ones that's getting delisted. Either way, I don't care. If a coin gets delisted, I switch it to another exchange and keep my positions, because I found that they delist coins near the bottom of cycles often to make them panic really hard so they can accumulate them cheap. And then when the bull cycle comes back around, they sell them on other exchanges. Or at least that's what I've seen happen a few different times in the past. So this is a really, really awesome cycle. This one did like 44,000% in 2017 or something like that. I don't remember the exact percentage. Let's just go ahead and look right here. You can take this percentage tool, go from here up to here. 648,000% since December 15th of, I'm not sure. That looks, yeah, 2015. So that's pretty amazing. That's a beautiful little cycle there for this coin. And then it did an ABC correction afterwards. A, B, C corrective process. Now let's take this off the logarithmic chart so we can see it on a linear scale. And then, as you can see, this will be a WXYZ corrective or WXYXZ corrective process. So let's just pull this down. This is all ABC subwaves. You can go ahead and zoom in and count them if you've got time. I don't right now. WXY. Oops. WXYXZ. And that's how you can count it on a linear scale. You can have a different count on a linear scale than a logarithmic based on the structure of the markets. But either way, they're going to give you the same buy zone. It's not one of those things where it's a, like, let's see. How do I want to word this? It's not one of those things where it's like a make it or break it. If you count it as a ABCDE or an ABC, you're treating it as a corrective process either way. So that's why Elliott waves works, even if you have different counts or have a little bit of a different spot that you're drawing your waves. They still apply perfectly fine once you know how to use the cycles along with them and then accumulate the panic. So, okay, awesome. Yeah, EMC squared. I really suspect this one to bounce hard because of the fact that it corrected really, really hard. Kind of like how Ripple, when it retraced 80% plus on its market cycle, this one did a very similar correction. So when it does start to impulse, I'm going to be really bullish on Einsteinium, and this one will provide good setups. It's also done nice percentage in the past. So I've actually watched this one for a while now. I have a little bit in my long term as well. Cool. So yeah, I think that runs over the markets overall. Here's the Bitcoin cycles for anybody that missed it at the beginning. We were basically just showing how you can connect all of these lows together, draw your sine wave, and get a very good idea of the cyclical nature of Bitcoin and the way that we can expect this to move and kind of curl in the future. So go ahead and pause, or well, come back and later, or take a screenshot if you need to. But actually, you know what? I'll do that one better. I'll copy this screenshot and I'll share it to everybody in the VIP areas right now. So if you want to get into the Discord group, Loniacs, go ahead and email me at highaltitudeinvesting@gmail.com. I will go ahead and send you a link, and I can get you in there as well. But yeah, I don't know if you're a VIP member or not, but there's just a welcome channel where free people can talk, but the actual VIP content is set aside for the VIPs. Speaking of which, I would like to go ahead and talk about my bonus for the day. The markets are really popping off, and if this is the beginning of the next reversal, I want to make sure that we have a bunch of new members coming into the VIP areas and learning from all of this and making money. So today we have done a sell. We're going to be doing 20% off the standard, VIP, and lifetime. So if you want to get in, you can use the active code, or the code active20 for 20% off. And honestly, I think this is a great way for you to get more hands-on and learn this. It comes with 40 videos. I do signals. I've been sending weekly updates out to all of the VIPs with the most recent trades that we've done, the losses, the gains. I send out market updates along with it on Mondays, and it just gives you a really good perspective of my view on the markets, and then allows you to kind of play based around that. So, and then the mastermind, I am filling up right now. There's only 25 slots available, so we're doing a pretty big discount on the mastermind right now. It's going to be 50% off, and it's normally password protected on my website, which means you have to apply for it. But for the next 3 days, I'm going to be running the sales on both of these, so you can just go ahead and click on this link to get in. But normally that is a password protected thing that we only accept applications for, because it's really exclusive. It's more of a one-on-one vibe, so it means you can literally talk to me and ask me direct questions every single Saturday. I have a mastermind portfolio, so you can copy the exact percentages that I'm holding and everything, watch as I grow it, and we run over every trading decision that I'm making. We run over analysis. I even post the charts after every single one in the private mastermind group in the Discord. So it's really awesome. If you want to get more hands-on and really learn this stuff, that's the best way to do it. But if you're more of a beginner and want to dip your feet in the water, you can check out the 1 year and the lifetime. Those are still both 20% off today. So go ahead and use that code active20 and these links right here. So I really appreciate every single one of you tuning into this stream. Hope that you're having an amazing Friday. You've been profitable throughout the week. I know I've been bullish for the past few days, so it's really, or the past few episodes, so it's really good to see this bouncing up and performing as predicted and as expected. This support and resistance works so good for the total market cap like this. Coinsignals.trade, you guys, go ahead and pull it up, draw your support and resistance zones, and apply it to your analysis. Whenever you want to make a trading decision on something else, look on this, see if you're in resistance or support, and then this will be like your indicator to help you take that trade. It's really, really useful. So again, coinsignals.trade, check that out. If you guys want to do technical analysis on the altcoins, you can use a platform called Coinigy. This also allows you to connect your API keys and do all your trading, set your stop losses, set your alerts. It's a really awesome tool for that. And then BitMEX for leverage trading, you can go ahead and sign up right there. I do not recommend that for anybody that's new to this. And then my Bitcoin address, if you like what I'm doing, you can donate. And again, there's another link to the VIP course and signals. So yeah, things are looking really awesome. Hopefully that we can get this reversal to happen. It's been one hell of a correction. I know that a lot of people have been experiencing some intense panic. My long-term portfolio definitely saw some pretty gnarly corrections all through this, but it's one of those things that it's long-term. I really don't care if it's dropping. I understand it. I'm going to see the value in it long-term. I've already decided that. Even if the price is dropping, I'm sticking to the value that's inside of crypto. This is amazing technology. This is literally, all the hype is real, you guys. The hype is real. This is, in my opinion, is as big as the internet, and it's just getting started. And we haven't even captured 1% of the Forex market yet. If we do that, Bitcoin's $1 million per coin. So there's so much upside for the cryptocurrency markets in general. This trend is really young. It's only a few years old, and we're just starting to paint those market cycles. It's getting more mature. The liquidity is getting bigger. There's more real investors getting in. Institutions. I talked continuously how I suspected some type of a correction this year so that institutional money would have liquidity to accumulate. You know, they don't want to buy tops. They want everybody to panic and sell so that they can get in really cheap. So that's kind of how I see this. That's the way that I perceive this right now, is that this was institutional money getting in this sine wave before the next run up. So really appreciate everybody tuning in today. You guys have an amazing Friday. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below, or in the Discord if you're one of the VIP members, and I will be keeping you guys updated. Expect my market update on Monday and all of that analysis as well. So for the VIP members at least, and then expect my video on Tuesday for all of the free viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in, and as always, stay profitable out there.